Hello once again. The Chess Player's Handbook, first published in London in 1847 by Staunton, was a landmark work. However, like all things in life, it wasn't perfect. In a communication from a gentleman calling himself Oxone Ensis, real name R.B. Bryan, dated shortly after this work was published, this gentleman pointed out an error on page 412 of the handbook in relation to flawed analysis. This letter was subsequently published in the Chess Player's Chronicle, edited by Howard Staunton, volume 8, page 267. This led to the 1848 second edition being amended accordingly. And so let's take a look at the 1847 study that we have in front of us here. What do you make of it? Well, the first thing to note, of course, is that with a king and a rook's pawn, so long as the black king can get into the corner down here, there's no way that white can win. However, with a bishop on the board, it can often be a different situation. But what is to be noted here is that the bishop is the wrong colour square for h8. It's a light coloured squared bishop rather than a dark coloured squared bishop. So with all of that in mind, let's quote Howard Staunton before presenting this problem and the analysis. In this position, he says, see diagram 13, black having to play, the game, you will find, can only be drawn thus. So black to play first. What is black's key move here according to Staunton? Can you see it? Well, the key move according to Staunton is, as he puts it in the old notation, king to his square, king e8. What's wrong with it? Well, let's play the Howard Staunton analysis first, which runs king to g5, a blunder, and we'll show white's a blunder in due course. So how does black continue here? Well, quite naturally, he's heading for h8 like I've explained at the beginning of this video, and he cannot be stopped from getting there. Staunton continues king h6, king to g8, king to g6, king to h8, h6, and as can be seen, black is just going back and forth. Bishop to d3, king to h8, toing and froing, king f6. The idea of playing bishop to d3, of course, was to stop the king from going to h7. So this is after 7, king f6. But black just goes back, king g8. He's happy to draw this by stalemate. h7 check. He has no choice. And at this moment, he is in stalemate. King to g5, unstalemating black. King to g7. And as Howard Staunton puts it, in this position, and play as you may, the game is drawn. Well, it is, yeah, there's just no way in that position. You can play around with it as much as you want, but because black has been able to ensconce himself between h8 and g7, he has no problem at all in drawing this. So let's just put this back for a moment. That is the starting position again. Let's just remind ourselves. Yeah. So The question is, after Staunton's king e8, what should he have done? White, that is. Instead of this. What is the alternative there to win the game effectively on the move? Can you see it? Let's just take the long view. There's nothing else on the board, but we'll just make sure. There you go. How does he win it on the move? Well, he simply plays bishop c4. And if you notice there, he's wanting to cut out any possibility of black taking advantage of those kingside squares. And now you see, if he plays king f8, can you see what we do? Yes, we simply play h6, and he is stopped from getting to either g7 or g8, and therefore cannot make it to h8. So just take a good look at that position for a moment. Black is powerless to reach h8, his only way of securing the draw. Now, all that white has to do in this position is to march his king down the king side, and white cannot be prevented from queening that pawn. Let's demonstrate it. Play anything you want, there's black. This is after king e8, bishop c4, king f8, h6. Well, he has to come sort of this way. He's heading for f6, so what do? We play there. And what does he do? He has to go back. And what do? We play here. And what does he do? He plays here. And the game is over. So that is the flawed piece of analysis that our friend Mr. Bryan found back in 1847. So let's put it back again. We need to find what black should have done in this position. That's the starting position. And so after king e8, the wrong move, it's not king g5, also the wrong move, it's bishop to c4 followed by h6. So how does black secure the draw here then? Well, he has to move his king, doesn't he, in this Rex Solus problem, which is effectively what it is. Yes, he plays king to there. Now, do you see what is happening here? First of all, let's look at what happens after king g5. What does he play? Well, he has a choice. He can either play here or he can play here. It doesn't make any difference, because now you see if the bishop comes like that, that's not a problem, and he can't be stopped from going into h8. There's nothing that can be done. Equally, and that is after king e7, if he plays bishop c4 here now, do you see the problem with that? Yes, you can play king f6 and stop him playing king g5. And now, of course, should he play h6, you win the pawn. He can't save it and draw the game. But what else does he have in that position? Just take a good look at it. What can he play? See, even if he plays for time, say something like here, and he's straight into the corner, that is an incredible line of play that Howard Staunton overlooked. I can find no evidence that he tried to get out of it by suggesting that it must have been a typo or something, that it should in fact have been king e7. So we can only assume that he just did not consider, for whatever reason, bishop c4 in the other line. I hope you enjoyed this one. It's most instructive, isn't it? And goodbye for now.